Hello friends, this is Dr. Pawan Jagannath Tamble, working as Assistant Professor in Chemistry at Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaj Nashik. In this video lecture, we will see history of stereochemistry and some basic terms which are very useful to communicate and to understand stereochemistry of organic compound. Dear all, we know that stereochemistry is a branch of chemistry which deals with the study of three-dimensional arrangement of atoms or groups. Or we can also say that stereochemistry is a chemistry that studies the properties of stereoisomers. And in return, stereoisomers are the molecules which are having same bond connectivity but differ in arrangement of atom or group in three-dimensional space. In one of the earlier lecture on isomerism, we have seen that there are different types of isomers, and one of the type is stereoisomerism. And stereoisomers are further classified into conformational and configurational isomers. Conformational isomers are the isomers which can be obtained merely by rotation across sigma bond, and configurational isomers are having mirror image relationship. If molecules are having non-superimposable mirror image relationship, then they are called as enantiomers. And if they do not have, then they are called as diastereomers. So with this background of stereochemistry, now we will try to travel in the history of stereochemistry, and we will try to find out how the concept of optical activity, enantiomers, tetrahedral nature of carbon atom was discovered in history. So let's start our journey, the history of stereochemistry. So if you look at historical perspectives, then Christian Huygens, who was a mathematician, astronomer and physicist who founded the wave theory of light, discovered the true shape of rings of Saturn and made original contributions to the science of dynamics. Apart from his contribution, he is also well known for his discovery of plane polarized light. Dear all, today we know that what is plane polarized light. Plane polarized light is a light which is traveling only in one direction, and it can be obtained from ordinary light. When ordinary light is passed through prism, then it converted into plane polarized light, and this was first time observed and discovered by Huygens, which is key for the development of polarimetry, which is used to find out enantiomers and so on. So the another scientist who contributed a lot is Carl Schell. He was a German Swedish chemist who independently discovered oxygen, chlorine and manganese. Apart from this, in 1769 he discovers tartaric acid from tartar. The potassium salt of tartaric acid was deposited on barrels and corks which he observed during fermentation process of grape juice, and he isolated that molecule. He found out its structure and he came to know that tartaric acid is having this type of structure. This structure was first suggested and given by Schell. Later on, Jean-Baptiste Biot, he worked for development of stereochemistry. Biot was a French physicist who helped to formulate the Biot-Savart law, which concerns magnetic field and laid down the basis for saccharimetry, which is useful technique for analysis of sugar molecules. He is well known for his work on optical activity. In 1815, he notes that certain natural organic compound, it may be liquid or solid in the form of solutions, are having ability to rotate plane of plane polarized light, and this concept today is called as optical activity. So when certain liquid or a solution is exposed to plane polarized light, then this solution or liquid can rotate plane of plane polarized light, and this is observed by Biot, which leads to development of the concept of optical activity. In 1819, racemic acid was discovered, and later on it has been observed that it is having same formula as that of tartaric acid. Later on, In 1832, Biot note that tartaric acid, which is isolated from a grape juice fermentation process, rotates plane polarized light in clockwise direction. That is, it is dextrorotatory. For this, he took a solution of tartaric acid and that solution was exposed to plane polarized light, and he found that this tartaric acid solution is able to rotate plane of this plane polarized light to some extent on clockwise side, and he concluded that tartaric acid is optically active and it is dextrorotatory. So this is the first experiment with tartaric acid. Now, up till now we know that in 1819 racemic acid was discovered, which is found to have same structure as that of tartaric acid. In 1832, Biot did experiment with tartaric acid and found that it is optically active and dextrorotatory. Later on, in 1838, Biot did similar experiment with racemic acid. Because racemic acid and tartaric acid are having similar kind of structure, it was expected that racemic acid may also do the same kind of behavior. But when Biot did this experiment, during this experiment he took racemic acid solution and it was exposed to plane polarized light, and he found that racemic acid do not rotate plane of this plane polarized light, and thus he concluded that racemic acid is optically inactive. So dear friends, if you look at these discoveries, you will come to know that racemic acid and tartaric acid, they are having same structure. Tartaric acid is optically active, is naturally occurring, which rotates plane polarized light in clockwise direction. However, racemic acid is optically inactive. So this journey of discovery of optical activity was further taken ahead by Louis Pasteur. In 1847, he repeated similar experiment which was done by Biot, and he found similar observation. Later on, he separated crystal from racemic acid by hand, and then these separated crystals were analyzed for its behavior towards plane polarized light, and he found that this separated crystal rotates plane polarized light equally but in opposite direction. Now, up till now, we have seen that racemic acid is optically inactive according to Biot. Later on, Louis Pasteur separated some crystals from racemic acid and he divided it into two different groups, and both the types of crystals were analyzed for its optical activity. And what he found, it's surprise that both the crystals are optically active, but they rotate plane polarized light in opposite direction but with equal angle. So this is salt of racemic acid. This salt is separated into two different crystals by Louis Pasteur, and he found that one rotates clockwise and one rotates anti-clockwise. The degree of rotation is 12.7 for both, but one is having clockwise rotation and other is having anti-clockwise rotation. Then in 1853, Pasteur studies mesotartaric acid, which is again having same formula as that of racemic acid and tartaric acid, but he fails to separate this mesotartaric acid into plus and minus crystal, which he did in case of racemic acid. In 1854, he noted that certain plant mold metabolizes plus tartaric acid but not minus tartaric acid. So up till now we got this information from these experiments that tartaric acid can exist in different forms. So we can have plus tartaric acid, which is optically active, it's plane polarized light clockwise direction, thus it is dextrorotatory. The second form is minus tartaric acid, which is again optically active and rotates plane polarized light in counterclockwise direction, so it is levorotatory. And mesotartaric acid is optically inactive. Today we know that why mesotartaric acid is optically inactive. because in case of mesoid tartaric acid, there is an internal compensation of this optical activity, and as a result, the molecule as a whole is optically inactive. Later on, in the history of stereochemistry, Joseph Liebel and Jacob Van 't Hoff, they proposed that carbon with 4 attachment, that is carbon with 4 bond, is having tetrahedral geometry, and a molecule having tetrahedral carbon with 4 different attachment may exist as a pair of isomers. And they propose these on the basis of some facts, which are like only one compound with general formula CH3X is ever found. If molecule is having formula CH2X2 or CH2XY, then again only one compound is possible for this type of molecular formulas. But if molecule is having molecular formula like CHXYZ, where carbon is attached to 4 different atoms or group, then in such cases 2 enantiomeric compounds are found. Now when Liebel and Van 't Hoff proposed this theory, at that time some great organic chemist opposes this theory and they call it as a childish behavior of Liebel and Van 't Hoff. But later on it was proved to be a great proposal by Jacob and Joseph. Jacob Van 't Hoff in 1901 he got first Nobel Prize in chemistry for his outstanding work on osmotic pressure and related things. So this is all about historical development in the stereochemistry. Now we will go through certain terms which are very useful to understand and to communicate the concept of stereochemistry in general. So first term is stereoisomers. Now we know that stereoisomers are the isomers which are having same molecular formula, same connectivity, but different positions of atoms or groups in 3-dimensional space, and they possesses one or more stereocenters. So what is stereocenter? Stereocenter is a carbon bearing 4 different atoms or groups is called as stereocenter. And there is another term called as chiral or achiral. So chiral means any molecule that is having non-superposable relationship with its mirror image, then it is said to be chiral molecule. Then another term is enantiomers. The stereoisomers that are non-superposable mirror images are called as enantiomers of each other. Then polarimeter, we know that polarimeter is a device which is used to measure optical rotation of molecules. Optically active or optical activity, the ability of some compound to rotate plane polarized light is called as optical activity, and it is of 2 different types. First is dextrorotatory. If compound has ability to rotate plane polarized light in clockwise direction, then it is said to be dextrorotatory. And the second type is levorotatory. If compound is having ability to rotate plane polarized light in counterclockwise or anti-clockwise direction, then it is said to be levorotatory. Then the next term which is useful is racemic mixture. Racemic mixture is nothing but 1:1 or equimolar mixture of 2 enantiomers, and please note down that racemic mixture is always optically inactive, as the optical activity of one enantiomer is cancelled by optical activity of another enantiomer, and such a mixture is called as racemic mixture, which is optically inactive. So dear friends, these are certain historical developments and some important terms which are going to be useful in future video lectures to all of us. I hope you enjoyed and understand this history of development and these some basic terms of stereochemistry. Thanks a lot for watching this video.